The assumption that scientific progress naturally flows across borders is currently splitting into two separate realities. Throughout June 2026, the long-standing ideals of academic exchange met the immediate friction of national survival. Research security is shifting from an administrative compliance task into a core element of national defense and economic strategy. To synthesize the month's rapid developments, we utilize the June 2026 Research Security Matrix. The y-axis tracks three critical domains: digital infrastructure, human talent, and institutional alliances. The x-axis measures vectors of activity, ranging from offensive espionage to defensive sovereign technology. This framework organizes over 30 separate intelligence reports and policy shifts recorded this month into a single threat landscape. Identifying these structural fractures is necessary for institutions attempting to protect their sovereign capabilities. Within the digital and compute domain, recent events have exposed the vulnerability of relying on foreign infrastructure. This chart shows that 3 U.S. technology firms currently control 85% of Canada's public cloud market, leaving domestic alternatives with a minimal share of the infrastructure. The consequences of this dependency surfaced when a U.S. government export directive forced Anthropic to restrict access to its most advanced AI models for all foreign nationals. This restriction followed reports that SK Telecom, a major Anthropic partner, faced scrutiny over its past global operations, illustrating how corporate ties can trigger national security interventions. In response, nations are attempting to build domestic alternatives. Canada is implementing a new health data AI strategy, while the UK has committed $1.5 billion to a national AI hardware plan and supercomputing capacity.
In the academic sector, Queen's University and Université de Sherbrooke have partnered to integrate AI supercomputing with post-quantum cryptography to secure their local research ecosystems. Simultaneously, China's LineShine system has taken the top spot in global supercomputing rankings. LineShine achieved this lead using standard microprocessors, a strategic move that allowed China to bypass U.S. export restrictions on specialized AI chips. These sovereignty efforts are occurring while the underlying systems are under constant offensive pressure. Google recently identified a Chinese-linked hacking group, UNC 6508, which specialized in exploiting vulnerabilities within RedCap research software. For over a year, this group infiltrated U.S. and Canadian medical, military, and AI research institutions to monitor targeted data. Investing in sovereign hardware is entirely ineffective if the software layer used for research remains open to persistent state-sponsored compromise. The middle row of our matrix focuses on the human and talent domain, specifically the concept of intangible technology transfer. As this diagram shows, an intangible transfer occurs when the foundational knowledge needed for strategic systems is extracted from a university lab and moved across borders by an individual researcher. This became a local reality in Ottawa, where security agencies flagged an aerospace PhD student at Carleton University as a potential threat. Intelligence reports alleged the student's research was directly beneficial to a sanctioned Iranian company involved in weapons development. Beyond student recruitment, intelligence agencies are using social engineering to target researchers who already hold security clearances. The FBI recently seized 13 fake consulting websites linked to Chinese intelligence, which were used to solicit sensitive information through fictitious job offers. This follows a joint Five Eyes warning that online job platforms are being used to identify and recruit individuals with access to non-public government and research data. These tactics place universities in a difficult position between their commitment to global enrollment and the strict requirements of national security. At the University of Liège, an investigation was opened into Chinese nationals suspected of academic espionage after they irregularly accessed campus IT systems and buildings. In the United States, the National Science Foundation has responded by slowing grants to elite universities that failed to adequately disclose foreign funding sources. Disclosures at Stanford University revealed at least $3 million in Chinese state-linked funding directed toward research at the Hoover Institution. Academic openness is functioning as a conduit for foreign intelligence services to bypass traditional hardware sanctions. The final row of the matrix covers the institutional alliance domain, where we see global research fracturing into formalized, competing blocks. Western research and defense are becoming increasingly integrated.
as seen in Canada's current negotiations to join the $1.6 billion NATO Innovation Fund. Canada and France have also established a new intelligence exchange pact to protect joint collaborations in aerospace, AI, and space sectors. The European Union has adopted its first science diplomacy framework to ensure its research funding directly supports its broader foreign policy goals. Alternative research architectures are appearing elsewhere to rival these Western institutions. The BRICS nations have launched a joint framework for research in AI, in quantum computing, and advanced materials. Simultaneously, China's Science Silk Road is funding research infrastructure across the Global South to align these networks with Beijing's strategic interests. This global division is reinforced by retaliatory policies, such as the U.S. expansion of its military blacklist to include firms like Baidu and DeepSeek. China responded by adding 10 U.S. companies to its export control list, targeting the critical minerals sector shown in this open-pit mine. Scientific collaboration is increasingly serving as a primary currency for building and maintaining strong geopolitical alliances. The June 2026 Research Security Matrix is now populated with a high density of offensive threats and defensive responses. This volume of activity within a single 30-day period suggests a structural change in how research is conducted globally. The data from June 2026 indicates that research institutions are increasingly unable to maintain political neutrality. Decisions regarding international grants, student visas, and cloud compute usage now have clear geopolitical implications. The controversy surrounding European Research Council funding for an Israeli defense project shows how easily civilian science is pulled into global conflict. For institutional leadership, research security programs are moving from passive compliance toward active, intelligence-driven risk management. Resilience in this environment requires the active alignment of local research protection with broader geopolitical strategies. In a balkanized landscape, the security of academic knowledge functions as an extension of national security.